to say one thing before I introduce Reverend Dyson. Milan will be running for mayor. I woke up last Friday morning and read a text from Milan, and it stated, "Will you introduce Dr. Michael Eric Dyson?" The first words out of my mouth was, wow. I thought about it for a moment and asked myself, how do I introduce such a powerful man? My mind went to the very first time I heard Dr. Michael Eric Dyson speak. I don't recall exactly where I was, but I do recall listening to a powerful man. And what I remember most, going home and resonating on every word, was that I had to pull out a dictionary to understand exactly what he said. Dr. Martin Luther King said, "Use me, God. Show me how to take who I am, who I want to be, and what I can do, and use it for a purpose greater than myself." The speaker of the hour, Dr. Michael Eric Dyson, is walking in his purpose. This powerful man of God, they told me quick, but Malia, that was just a little too short. This powerful man of God walking in his purpose is a licensed ordained minister. He's a New York Times bestselling author, a preacher, and a renowned scholar. He earned a PhD in religion from Princeton University, and for more than the last decade, Michael Eric Dyson has been Georgetown University's highest-ranking professor of sociology. He has written more than 20 books. His latest book, which he has in the back, is titled Jay-Z, Made in America. Ladies and gentlemen, stand to your feet. Cue up your Google search and your web dictionary, and welcome the phenomenal scholar and public intellectual, Dr. Michael Eric Dyson.
We will now have the benediction. This is the longest program since Aretha's funeral. God damn, I forgot I was speaking. I'm part of the first fraternity. They came, no, not 1906. 1619. Negroes got here. Negro, please. That's the first fraternity. Brother Milan, a remarkable young man. Chocolate charming, radiant Sidney Poitier smile, Denzel charm, Idris sexiness. He might be the president. He might be the president. Give it up for that brother right there. Very persistent, despite my crazy schedule to get me here, putting through all kind of roadblocks and impediments and obstacles, and he overcame every one of them. He's a remarkably poised young man. And in an era where America has under assault people who look like him, it's good to see black excellence flourish regardless. And speaking of black excellence, our masters of ceremony, I started to say master and mistress, but me too, I'm not trying to like mess up nothing, right? Not trying to impute or ascribe any untoward affection toward anybody, just saying what it is. But these two are remarkable, aren't they? Huh? Mr. Marcus Washington, right? Ladies all agog over him, dancing. Several women came up to the table to get a lap dance, but it was not happening. that's going to cost you a little bit more than what you got in your pocket, he said. Such a radiant and intelligent young man and a person of good spirit and energy. And that's what you need in the news media right now, because your president is out of control. Man, I'm going to get to that in about 5 minutes. Just hold on. But for this remarkable young man to do his thing and to be a staple of your community and not to be distant from it but intimately webbed to it is worthy of celebration. And we ought to do that for Brother Washington. And this next young lady, her high intelligence, her radiant personality, her bon vivant, sexiness, intelligence, beauty. She came back to the table and she said, "You ate my chocolate cake." Such a classy act. Very warm and hospitable to a stranger. There's some other chocolate cake on the table. Ain't like I ate all of them. I ain't know left or right. I couldn't figure out. It was good. I figured out the fork for the darn salad. But the first black woman president of the United States of America, Malia Cohen. So I said, that's what it is. And when it comes to pass, I want y'all to, that Michael Eric Dyson, he said it. Y'all had a warm-up act, now you're going to get the real one out the bag. And she is a committed political figure, substantive policy, right? Tinkering with the infinite infrastructure of possibility upon which policy rests, but also able to connect to people at the same time. And to have that kind of connection to our folk, even as she transcends narrow considerations of community to embrace a broader constituency, marks her as a remarkable politician. Give it up for the commissioner. I would say some more stuff, but it's already been a long time. I will say to this wonderful singer, can't she sing? Huh? I mean, she's got pipes. In her ethereal evocation of the best of our transcendent and luminous intelligence manifest in the poetry of our singing. She can sing. Right? What's your full name? What's your full name? Lena Bird Myers. Give it up for Lena Bird Myers. The DJ over here was looking for the song, wasn't he? Man, we said, play a song. It took him 20 minutes to get that song. He came over and explained to us, I got my church stuff on one hand and my strip club stuff on the other, and I don't know what... Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to ask you there, brother. That's why he's looking for singles right now. I mean, it's wonderful, wonderful DJ as well. Look, and all the politicians, y'all forgive me, all of the potentates and dignitaries and prophets, priests, preeminent leaders, Congress people, women and men, mayors, and the like, we thank you for your service. And for the people who have been awarded, God bless you for your service as well. Now, I'm a Baptist preacher. I usually preach for 4 hours. I'm going to give y'all a break. 3 hours and 49 minutes. I'm going to hit it in 20. I'm going to sit down. Is that good? Y'all listen to me. I'll give it back to you. We be done. Is that all right? If you egg me on, I might go 22. If you get real fantastic and transmogorical, I might give you 25. The dream is a verb. We celebrate a figure who has been caught in the thickets of amnesia. The FBI tweeted out its celebration of Dr. King today. I guess they forgot the part about how they sent him a letter to kill himself. sent a tape to his wife suggesting that he was incapable of fidelity, and refused to warn him when there were credible threats to his life. Why do I begin here? Oh my God, I didn't know the speaker was going to be a Debbie Downer. Because what we have done is wrap King in the shroud of amnesia, forgetting the real and vicious intensity of the resistance that his leadership evoked. And so, if I were to give title to this talk, I would call it the United States of Amnesia. Now, the title is not original with me. Gore Vidal, the great writer, spoke about it. And I would say that we are living in the United States of Amnesia, and the theme song is provided by Barbra Streisand. I know a lot of y'all don't know who Barbra Streisand is. These youngins up in here, stuck on Taylor Swift, or Cardi B, or Lizzo, or Megan Thee Stallion. But Barbara was a singer too, a great one. And she sang the words, "What's too painful to remember, we simply choose to forget." And so Martin Luther King Jr. was an extraordinary figure. As has been stated, a prodigy indeed. He graduated from Morehouse at 19, went there at 15 years old. World War II had decimated the numbers of black men in particular attending college, and so Morehouse had an early entry program. King went in, studied philosophy, studied sociology, C student, 15 to 19. He didn't think preaching was an intellectually respectable vocation until he met George Kelsey, his religious ethics professor, and Benjamin Mays, the president of Morehouse. And so he got converted and believed that you could be a minister and be smart at the same time. And that you could worship God with your heart and your head. Later on, he would preach a sermon saying some of us major in muscularity rather than spirituality. We exercise our belief with God by praising God with our bodies, but not with our minds. And some of us do only the praising of God with our minds and not with our spirits. So we get frozen up into a cerebral attentiveness that lacks spiritual attunement. And so Martin Luther King Jr., born in Atlanta, went to seminary at 19, started working on his PhD, was completing it at 26 when he accepted a call to ministry in Montgomery, Alabama. And there he and his gifted wife, the singer Coretta Scott, relocated to Montgomery, and the rest, as you know, is history. Rosa Parks was on a bus and refused to get up. Part of the amnesia of America, people believe her feet was tired. That sounds good. That's good for the commercial. That ain't what the real deal was. The real deal was Rosa Parks was an anti-rape activist with a protean burgeoning feminist consciousness that led her to resist the demonization of women's bodies, and she was looking for the appropriate opportunity to test the limits of white supremacy in the South according to Jim Crow segregation. She wasn't just no old lady, middle-aged lady who was just too tired to get up. She chose that spot as a point of resistance. And then E.D. Nixon, the head of the Brotherhood of Sleeping Car Porters, and others got involved. And then Martin Luther King Jr. was the concession leader. You know how it is. They had Negroes in the city vying who gonna be the one in charge. They finally said, let's choose that new dude that don't nobody know to be the leader. Hot dang, he turned out to be Patrick Mahomes. Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. Sorry for your loss. It wasn't Garoppolo. Don't hate. I went to the game yesterday. It was great. Now that brother Monster, 220 yards, 4 touchdowns. That a bad boy. And so King was the concession leader, because leadership doesn't often happen simply by strategic intervention in the name of ambition. King said, the battering rams of historical necessity thrust me into place. Sometimes leadership is thrust upon you. Sometimes you got to understand when your moment is, but you got to be ready for it when it comes. Don't do your homework the night of your appointment. Be ready before you walk in the door. So he studied them words, and he studied those ideas. And so when white supremacy reared its ugly head, and the challenge was there, he was able to call upon Carlyle. He was able to call upon James Russell Lowell and W.E.B. Du Bois. He was able to recall the theological and philosophical predicates for the expansion of American democracy because he got prepared. So when we deal with the amnesia of America, the first thing we ought to understand, especially for young folk, yes, be a serious activist, but learn something before you start activating. I know this is a new generation, I get it. I'm an old man. Facebook, we have to face the book to read it. And we didn't have to swipe right. On a dating app, we ain't had nothing like that. We had to holler, hey, what's your name? We had to get our game up. Y'all on the internet, we had to learn to talk to a woman. Not like your president grabbed it. Huh? Somebody give him one-on-one macaroni. You got to learn to be smooth, son. If you a real man, real men are not scared of real women. Huh? Subordinate a woman to your desire through your toxic masculinity and your poisonous patriarchy. You get more by acknowledging her equality and in some cases her superiority. If you're a real man, you ain't got to grab it, call it. Summons it with your integrity. Be willing to submit to her desire and your pleasure will increase. I can't even tell you no more about that. I'm gonna leave that alone right there. Even Biggie knew that. Some say that X makes the sex spectacular. Make me lick you from your neck to your back, then tongue delivering, chills up that spine. That ass is mine. But it's all right with you. I'm loving tonight. That's affirmative consent. If it's all right with you, I will be loving. Ain't no thrusting your patriarchal perspective and your presumption of your arrogant maleness. Learn how to be sacrificial. Beg for it every now and again. Then your woman will follow you anywhere. Give up the throne for her, she'll move to Canada with you. So in this age of social media, I know you want to cancel folk when you disagree with them. Ain't that simple? Right? Canceling is a white supremacist notion of eradicating completely another human being because of disagreement. You can't, first of all, you ain't got no magazine subscription. You ain't canceling nobody. You ain't got no credit card company. You ain't canceling nobody. Don't cancel, engage. Outstudy, outthink, outmotivate. Learn to use your position as a way to clarify your moral intent and your social agenda. And you got to do that through preparation. Now look, I teach, you see, I wrote a book on Jay-Z. I love hip-hop when I can understand it these days. This mumble rap, I don't, what the hell, right? I like Rakim. I know y'all don't know nothing about Rakim. I know y'all don't. Standing by the speaker, suddenly I had a fever. Was it me or either summer madness? Because I just can't stand around, so I get closer, and the closer I get, the better it sounds. My mind starts to activate, rhymes collaborate. Because when I heard the beat, I just had to make something from the top of my head. So I fell into the groove of the wax and I said, how can I move the crowd? First of all, ain't no mistakes allowed. Now, I don't know what Future and them talking about. 12 times, 1 time, 1 time, 50 times, 6 times, 8 times, 1 time, 10 times, 6 times, then they finish, you know what I'm saying? No, hell no. Only part I know, walking like you talking. That's all I know. But the amnesia, in terms of the preparation, when you dig deeper, from the Bay Area, a young man named Pac. Somebody wake me, I'm dreaming. I started as a seed, the semen swimming upstream, planted in the womb while screaming. On the top was my pops, my mama hollering, stop. From a single drop, this is what they got? Not to disrespect my people, but my papa was a loser. Only plan he had for mama was the blanker and abuser. And even as a seed, I could see his plan for me, stranded on welfare, another broken family. The notorious B.I.G., the great philosopher Christopher Wallace, used to fuss when the landlord dissed us. No heat. Wondered why Christmas missed. Birthdays was the... Now we sip champagne when we... Damn right I like the life I live, because I went from it. And it's all good. And if you don't know... He also said, back in the days, our parents used to take care of us. Look at them now. They're even scared of us. Calling the city for help because they can't maintain damn things done changed. If I wasn't in the rap game, I'd probably have a key knee deep in the crack game, because the streets is a short stop. Either you're slinging crack rock or you got a wicked jump shot. Damn, it's hard being young from the slums, eating 5-cent gums, not knowing where your meal's coming from. What happened to the summertime cookout? Every time I turn around, our brothers being took out. Study is critical. Analysis is keen and important. And as young people, in the amnesia with which we shroud Martin Luther King Jr., he ain't got there by osmosis. He studied deeply and profoundly. And some of those best rappers you listen to are thinkers as well. God forgive me for my brash delivery, but I remember vividly what these streets did to me, Jay-Z said. Imagine me allowing you to nitpick at me, portray me like a pickaninny. Now all my teachers couldn't reach me, and my mama couldn't beat me hard enough to match the pain of my pop not seeing me. So with that disdain in my membrane and on my pimp game, blank the world, my defense came. The raison d'etre of engaging in hustling life, motivated by economic immiseration, the kind that Martin Luther King Jr. spoke about and the kind he studied. You will not be a serious activist. You will not be a serious social agent for change unless you study hard. For young people and the rest of us. Don't just assume no political office and ain't got nothing to say. Like some folk. We got a man who stands up every morning. He don't read no books. He don't even read what they bring him in the office. He ain't read his own book. Proud to be unmolested by enlightenment. Stands up every morning to excrete the feces through tweets of his moral depravity into a nation he has turned into his psychic commode. I don't want to hear nothing else about affirmative action. Now, affirmative action ain't what people think it is. right? Affirmative action means in the competition over ever scarce resources, socially and politically, the nod is given to two equally qualified, relatively speaking, candidates to those who have been historically underrepresented as a result of race, class, sex, religion, and the like. That's what affirmative action means, right? Like affirmative action means, if you got an NBA, ain't no brothers playing, let a brother play. Do you think that's inferiority? Michael Jordan, do you think he's inferior? Of course, the first response is, everybody ain't Michael Jordan. Ain't nobody Michael Jordan. And ain't no white man been Michael Jordan, right? Steph Curry is to himself. I don't know why they left Oakland to go to San Francisco. They're suffering right now. I ain't saying nothing, I'm just passing through town, I don't know nothing about it. I was on a plane one day, two white women saw me, they had seen me on television. They told me they admired me, and then the plane's announcer came on, it was clear it was a white woman. And she talked about how many feet we were going to get up to and how rough it was going to be. And then the white woman turned to me and said, Dr. Dyson, what do you think about that? I act like I didn't know what they was talking about. I said, what you mean? They said, you know. I said, oh hell, I'm gonna go to sleep now. I said, if a woman is flying this plane, they done tested her so deep, she can fly this sucker upside down and land on a corner and give you change. But what people be meaning about it is they think they're giving you the hookup just because you black. No, nobody after this president should claim anything except the vitriolic pervasiveness of white mediocrity has ruled in America for the last 4 years. I'm just passing through town, I ain't got nothing personal. I'm just saying, is it not the case, can't talk, can't think, can't speak, mad at the man who had the job before you did? You got swag envy. A man walked down Air Force One like he was 50 Cent in the background. I don't know what you heard about me, but the right can't get $1 out of me. They got mad because he had a tan suit on. Remember that? If he had had a white Russian drink, they would have impeached him. Now you got a man drinking with white Russians in the Oval Office. Making all kind of extraneous gases. Just Putin. Y'all better get with it, man. Y'all better get with it. I'm almost done. Mitch McConnell, Lindsey Graham, Mike Pence, William Barr. These people are even worse than the president because you're supposed to know better. He's a hack, incompetent, incapable of rationality at a profound level, but you ought to know better. And then the same thing, they were mad at the one who had the job before them. Now they're celebrating this man for the same reason. White evangelicals who had a problem with Obama said he wasn't a Christian, he was a Muslim. Now turn a blind eye to morally reprobate behavior emanating from the White House. Now, unless you think I'm just one-sided, the thing is, the man who had the job before him should have done more when he was there. This is where it gets silent, white people. Just check it out. Just like the masses of white people are mesmerized by Trump, the masses of black folk were mesmerized by Obama. Now don't get it twisted, one was better than the other. Let me make that plain. I do miss him, right? Remember he was in office and he gave the penultimate, the one before the last, State of the Union address. And he said, I ain't got no more races to run, and the wife white right-wingers got all giddy and started clapping. He said, that's because I beat you twice. No, he wanted to say it differently than that. He needed an anger translator. I'm available now to provide for you what he really wanted to say. Children, close your ears. This is what Obama, look, bitch! I beat you twice. If there was a third race, I'd whip your ass again. Back to the program at hand. Black people made excuses for Obama because Obama, surely enough, up against tremendous odds, right? Anything he did, they did the opposite. He said up, they said down. He said left, they said right. He said wet, they said dry. That's the job. You're the president. And so the thing is that instead of hitting out against vicious white supremacy, he began to target black people. He went to the Congressional Black Caucus and he said to those black people, stop complaining. Barbara Lee sitting there, John Conyers, John Lewis, Charlie Rangel, Maxine Waters, who when you were a tadpole, they were sacrificing their lives and their careers for black people. Now you got the nerve to tell them to stop complaining? He went to Morehouse during the graduation ceremonies and he said, nobody's going to give you something you haven't earned. You're not speaking to graduates of the penitentiary, sir. You're speaking to young men who got a degree that day. The only person who had an unearned degree that day was you. And so it's no use of trying to pretend that Obama didn't have a kind of interesting public love-hate relationship with the very blackness that put him in office. That's why it was difficult for Corey and Kamala to gain traction. What do you say? What you talking about, Dyson? I'm saying that the stunted, delayed disappointment of the masses of black people, not with Obama the individual who they continue to love, but Obama the president who didn't deliver public policies that could ameliorate the existential and political misery of black folk. So when they saw folk looking like Obama came along, they took a pass. Just think on that. I know you got to deal with that. Just medicate on that. And where black people are silent is where I stay. And since there's silence, let me get deeper. We are simply saying that in this era of King, we must speak out against white supremacy on the right wing, and we must speak about black capitulation in the bourgeois political order as well. That amnesia has to be repudiated. We love Obama. I do as an individual. I served twice for him as a surrogate, but the truth is the light of the world. And we know it was difficult for him. Black people say, well, you know, if he didn't say anything about race, they didn't like him no how. When he spoke about Georgia or Canada or calories or breakfast, you might as well go and be who you is. That's why when folk ask me, you got a PhD from Princeton, you know a bunch of big words, but you still just a Negro. That's what I do. That's what I is. I hope you like me. Or I can speak the kings to the queen's face. I can speak about the insurrection of subjugated knowledges in a deconstructive paradigm. I can talk about French philosophy and theory. I can speak about Je parle un peu de français, bonne paysanne de Lorraine. I can talk about some Germanic stuff. Ich bin ein Berliner. Eine feste Buche Zanzibar. But at the end of the day, when they don't know I speak a bunch of languages and got a PhD, I'm a nigger to them. And I understand that. So I carry that with me. This is what you see is what you got. I determined a long time ago, if you're going to love me, love knowing who I am. I love everybody. I love every race, every religion. But I unapologetically love black people where I started. Black people whose backs are against the wall. Black people whose shame has been put before them. But I don't just love black folk, but I start with the black folk I love. And in loving that blackness, we got to be critical of it. And if you want to get rid of that amnesia, you got to do what King did. You got to challenge injustice anywhere. is a threat to justice everywhere. I'm almost done. I went to a black church the other day. Preacher in Cleveland, a woman came up to me, she said, "You know you're going to hell." I said, "Ma'am, I know 25 reasons why I should go to hell. I'm just curious about the one you know. Because I know I got the lock on my iPhone." No, none of that stuff flipped out. She said, "You know why? Because you said God made gay people." I said, "And you think I'm going to hell? And you a polytheist? You think there's a God for straight people and one for gay? Either God made everybody or God ain't named nobody." That's just what it is. And when did black people get so homophobic? When I was coming up, we knew it was gay. We knew Andre was gay. But he had to announce it, but no coming out party. But Andre was in the hood and whipped people's butt for us. We loved it, Andre. Went to church. We knew the choir director was gay. Come on. Ain't nobody missing that. We knew some of the ushers were gay. What you didn't know, some of the preachers were too. A bunch of them. You've been blessed by gay folk and didn't even know it. Then you get retroactively homophobic when you find out. Oh my God, the word says. You mean the same word that was used to justify you as a slave? The same word that was used to justify you as a woman who didn't speak equally in a church? The same word that was used to justify your dehumanization? You won't quote that word to justify somebody gay? It ain't your sexual orientation, it's your moral orientation. And let me tell you this. I ain't never been to a black church that turns down gay tithes. Only funny money they don't want is change. King, in terms of amnesia, for your preparation as an activist, for your understanding that it's not just your community, but that all of us are in the boat together. The ability to speak out against those in power like a president who is drunk with his own self-inebriating narcissism, this lugubrious leech, this orange apparition. And then finally, and I'm going to take my seat for real on this, if we're going to fulfill King's dream and reject our citizenship in the United States of amnesia and join the kingdom of memory, we must embrace women in our lives. Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why that's important. More than half the folk in this world are women. That'd be number one. Number two, none of us would be here without one. It ain't like 99%, like 100. And the thing is that the misogyny, which is the hatred of women, sexism, sentiments against women because they're women, patriarchy, the unconscious or conscious belief that men's lives should dictate the norms by which others are judged. And a word I came up with, femophobia. Just scared of women. When a real woman show up, you just nervous. At the end of the day, we got to embrace women. Right? Women of color in particular in this country have been demonized. Right? And I see the breadth of white, Minion, Latinx, Asian, Pacific Rim, Muslim, Christian, right? Black, white. We got them all here today? Yeah. The Wonder of Women. I wrote a book called Why I Love Black Women. Now, it ain't that I only love black women. I'm from the 70s, trust and believe. From the 70s, remember that song, Larry Cancer, float, float? Y'all don't know nothing about that, y'all. Float on. Y'all don't know nothing about that? Huh? We tried to overcome racial oppression one body at a time. Y'all ain't ready for that. The Kardashians clearly heard about it. They done tried to save more Negro men than the NAACP. If you're famous and rich, if you're a ball player and entertainer, otherwise it's rough. But I wrote a book because I saw black women being demonized. And these rappers were telling me, I ain't against mad at all black women, just the women I know. Negro, learn some other women. Number two, it ain't the women, it's you. Right? They come to me, I'm mad at black women. And you can extend this to anyone. I'm mad. Why? Because they're bitter. Wake up in the morning, you go, good morning. They go, no, it's not. I said, maybe you made them bitter. Maybe your behavior and your inability to remain constant and consistent and understanding the necessity for reciprocity and mutuality as opposed to dictatorship caused them to be bitter. I'm just guessing. Then they come to me, I'm tired of these women. Why? Because they don't like men. They're too choosy for a brother like me. I say, you know, I did a sociological analysis. I be doing that sometimes. Like, for instance, you know, I go to clubs to study bacchanalia and glee among young people in quadrants of 6 segments of 20 in spaces called clubs. I have to do this for sociological analysis. Keeps me out to 4:30 a.m. many mornings. I said, I did a sociological analysis. You know what I discovered? Black women in particular, and many other women of color and others, choose men beneath their educational pedigree than any other women in America. That means a sister with a PhD dealing with a brother got a bachelor's degree. Sister with a master's, high school. Bachelor's degree, Cletus went to 8th grade. But she working with Cletus. Fix your teeth up, get your grill together, shine your... We going out. Right? And then they come to me with a big complaint. Tired of these women because they're too bossy. I say, you got a point right there. But thank God for bossy women. Some of y'all wouldn't even be here today without a bossy woman. And it's about time we understood bossy women ought to be able to boss up and be your boss. Like a Nancy Pelosi, who can snap her fingers like a black mama. Saying, huh? Thank God for bossy women. Some of y'all wouldn't have filled out your application for college without a bossy woman. If you are going to extend the tradition of Martin Luther King Jr. seeing that injustice must be repudiated, that imperialism must be resisted, that militarism must be fought, that racism must be resisted, we must understand we've got to fight internally against the sexism and misogyny in our own hearts and communities. Now, I hate to be this guy, because I said I wasn't going to grow up and be the guy that say back in my day. But back in my day, the hatred of women, we didn't celebrate it. We had it. There was nastiness, domestic intranquility. Father knew best, was hiding and masking hurt at the home. But we ain't went out and sang about it and put a rap song out about it. So in our day, we didn't mind admitting that we were lost. Right? Have you seen it? Tell me, have you seen her? I see her face as the cold wind blows on the street, even at the picture show. Have you seen her? I'm about to sit down, but I just wanted to tell this to you now. Why? Then he got philosophical. Why, oh why? Did she have to leave and go away? Remember that? Oh, I've been used. Stop. You understand every word that Negro was saying. I've been used to having someone. Now where you at? Now I'm at the mall. You're here. I'm there. Where are you? Then the girl made us see things. Today I saw somebody who looked just like you. Guess what? She walked like you. What'd you say? I thought it was you. But wait a minute. As she turned the corner, Sinead! Oh, my bad. I thought that was you. But you know what? You still kind of fine. Can I get that man? I'm almost done. Then we stalked the girl, didn't we? Each day through my window, How many days you been watching that girl? For 2 years, somebody called the police on her stalker. Now what they singing? You remind me of my Jeep. Or they singing, you gonna think I invented sex. Not really. I think Barry White might have had something to do with it. Playing your game, baby. Y'all don't remember Barry? I think Marvin Gaye might have had something to do with that. I don't see nothing wrong with you. Giving yourself to me can never be wrong if the Spirit moves you. Did that Negro bring the Holy Ghost up in the bedroom? One more and I'm done. I think Teddy Pendergrass had something to do with it. He started off like Obama, real smooth. Close the door. Then when he got going, shut him off! You better embrace a bossy woman. You think Harriet Tubman wasn't bossy? What do you think she said? Excuse me. There's a thing called the Underground Railroad. I want you guys to come along. It's really cool. That ain't what she said. Be in a nut at 8:30. Negroes got there. Miss Tubman, we was gonna go, but we done changed our mind. Oh, we ain't gonna tell nobody. Oh, she said, I know you won't. She had a Bible in one hand and a shotgun in the other. And she had to cold cock some of them Negroes. Don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years, Mama said. And she had to knock them out. And when they woke up, where I is, Negro, you are free. We done called your black ass to freedom, and women will still do it today. In the name of Martin Luther King.
Let's give our keynote speaker for the 40th Luncheon a round of applause. I don't know if you